For many people to become really rich, they really have to be lucky in investing in stocks that really do well, or investing in cryptocurrencies that blow up millions of percentages overnight. But if you want to be rich in order to even control people, then you need to have an organization like the Vatican. In this video, we are going to be exposing how insanely rich the Vatican under the control of the Pope is. The Vatican, renowned as the center of the Roman Catholic Church, has long captivated people with its remarkable architecture and priceless art. It's a place that draws admiration and curiosity, but beneath this splendor, there's a deeper story, one shaped by centuries of financial entanglements, political intrigue, and controversial moments. The Catholic Church's history is a tapestry of triumphs and challenges, filled with moments of unity and tension, with a global following as diverse as it is vast. With an astounding 1.3 billion members worldwide, Catholicism stands as the world's largest Christian denomination, with believers found across continents, from urban centers to rural villages. Its influence is undeniable. Historically, the faith's strongholds have been in Europe, countries like Italy, Spain, France, and Poland serving as its traditional heartlands. But Catholicism's reach has extended far beyond these borders, evolving and spreading in remarkable ways over the centuries. In fact, the Church's growth accelerated during the age of exploration and missionary work, planting deep roots in places like Latin America and the Philippines. But it wasn't just historical conquests and missions that expanded the faith. Migration, whether driven by the search for better opportunities or forced by hardship, has also played a key role in spreading Catholicism. Today, thriving Catholic communities can be found in places as varied as the US, Canada, Australia, and across Asia, proof of its enduring global presence. One of Catholicism's greatest strengths has been its ability to adapt. Unlike many other major religions, Catholicism has shown a unique flexibility, often blending its rituals with local customs and traditions. This adaptability allows the faith to feel familiar to new converts, while still maintaining a connection to its core beliefs. Essentially, it's a delicate balance of embracing cultural differences while ensuring the Church's continuity. And when it comes to finances, let's face it, the Vatican hasn't amassed its wealth purely through spiritual devotion. The Catholic Church, with its vast resources and intricate financial systems, has become one of the wealthiest religious institutions in the world. Behind the scenes, the Vatican has mastered the art of navigating the fine line between faith and financial gain, allowing it to maintain its influence and power on a global scale. If you've ever wondered how the Vatican became one of the richest institutions in the world, it's not exactly a divine mystery. In fact, it's a masterclass in financial savvy. Let's be real, running an empire that survived for centuries requires more than just spiritual devotion. It demands a serious financial system to keep the money flowing. First off, the Vatican has a reliable source of income: donations. From devout individuals to generous organizations, people are always willing to give. And the Church? Well, they've perfected the art of passing the collection plate. But donations are just the beginning. Surprisingly, the Vatican has also made its mark in the world of investments. Yes, the very same institution known for its robes and rituals also knows a thing or two about managing a killer investment portfolio. From real estate to stocks, the Vatican's financial interests are as diverse as they come. They've invested in a bit of everything, ensuring that their wealth continues to grow over time. Who knew that the key to heavenly riches was also tied to smart investments? And let's not overlook their business ventures. The Vatican has turned faith into profit by operating museums, selling religious artifacts, and even running souvenir shops. It's an impressive feat, transforming centuries of tradition into a modern-day revenue machine. After all, selling a little piece of piety goes a long way. All of these efforts have made the Vatican a financial powerhouse, ranking among the wealthiest states in the world. With a GDP per capita of $21,198, and revenues reaching around $770 million in 2021. They've certainly figured out how to balance the books. And while the Vatican may be small in population, their vast real estate holdings are nothing short of staggering. Owning property across the globe, the Church's land assets are one of its most significant sources of wealth. You could say the Vatican is the ultimate real estate mogul. Forget about Donald Trump or the world's billionaires with their private islands and mansions. When it comes to owning prime real estate, the Vatican is in a league of its own. What sets them apart? They don't just own luxury estates, they own some of the most iconic and historically significant buildings on the planet. At the heart of their impressive portfolio is St. Peter's Basilica, located right in the center of Vatican City. It's not just any church, it's the largest Christian church in the world and holds a status that rivals places of worship like Mecca. But what really makes it stand out is its design. This Renaissance masterpiece is priceless in both spiritual and architectural terms. Then, of course, there's the Sistine Chapel. If you've ever marveled at Michelangelo's stunning ceiling frescoes, including the famous Creation of Adam, you're admiring one of the Vatican's most treasured properties. It's more than just a place of worship, it's a breathtaking piece of art history. And let's not forget the Apostolic Palace, the Pope's official residence. This isn't just a fancy home, it's a sprawling complex that includes papal apartments, chapels, and administrative offices. With a name like Palace, they're not exactly keeping it a secret that this is a grand and opulent space. Arguably, the crown jewel of all the Vatican's assets is its library, a true treasure trove of knowledge and history. The Vatican Library is one of the oldest and most prestigious in the world, housing an immense collection of ancient manuscripts, rare books, and historical documents. It's not just a library, it's a repository of human civilization, preserved over centuries by an organization that has stood the test of time. Beyond the iconic buildings within Vatican City, the Holy See's influence stretches across borders, with notable properties scattered internationally. While many of these are, unsurprisingly, in Italy, they still technically belong to another country. One standout property is Castel Gandolfo, located about 15 miles outside of Rome. This scenic estate serves as the Pope's summer getaway, complete with expansive gardens and a stunning view of Lake Albano. Of course, the Vatican's reach goes far beyond Italy. It owns over 1 million churches across the globe, with a few particularly noteworthy ones like St. John Lateran, St. Mary Major, and St. Paul outside the walls, all steeped in rich history and religious significance. And let's not forget the Vatican's diplomatic presence. The apostolic nunciatures, essentially the Vatican's embassies around the world, serve as both offices and residences for papal representatives. These embassies allow the Vatican to maintain strong ties and influence in countries across the globe. The Vatican's global reach is truly impressive, with a total of 116 apostolic nunciatures, or embassies, scattered across the world. But when it comes to its most stunning international properties, the real showstoppers are the papal palaces. Beyond Castel Gandolfo, the Pope has access to some seriously grand residences like the Apostolic Palace in the Lateran and the Papal Palace of Avignon in France. These palaces aren't exactly cozy homes. They're used mainly for religious, administrative, and diplomatic purposes. Yet, despite their functional roles, they're brimming with lavish decor, exquisite furniture, and breathtaking art. In terms of value, well, it's almost impossible to put a price tag on the Vatican's real estate empire, but it's safe to say the total worth is somewhere north of $50 billion. Now, you might assume that Vatican City is shelling out enormous sums in property taxes for these magnificent estates. But, let's be real, who's going to send them a tax bill? God? The Vatican's relationship with taxes is, let's just say, unique. While the rest of us might be grumbling about tax season, the Vatican has been pretty adept at keeping itself out of the taxman's reach. Thanks to its status as a sovereign state, the Vatican enjoys a range of privileges, including, surprise, surprise, tax exemptions. It turns out money might not buy happiness, but it can certainly buy a few breaks when it comes to taxes. Let's be honest, no ruler in their right mind would risk taxing the one person with the power to excommunicate them and unleash an army of religious followers eager to defend their faith. So, while tax exemptions have certainly been helpful, they're not the real reason behind the Vatican's immense wealth. The real financial game changer? Indulgences. The Catholic Church's best financial strategy was the sale of indulgences, which allowed believers to pay their way out of purgatory and head straight to heaven. It was the ultimate pay-to-win scheme, and it filled the Vatican's coffers with ease. Just a few coins could supposedly wash away sins, and the faithful were more than willing to contribute. Of course, not everyone was thrilled to see the Vatican enjoying such financial perks, especially in countries where Catholicism wasn't the majority religion. Some governments decided it was time for the Church to start paying up. arguing that the Vatican should contribute its fair share of taxes like everyone else. But the Vatican, citing its religious and sovereign status, pushed back on these efforts. This ongoing debate over whether the church should be taxed touches on more than just finances. It blurs the line between earthly responsibilities and divine privilege. For now, the discussion continues with no clear end in sight, as countries and the Vatican negotiate the delicate balance between faith and taxes. The Catholic Church's approach to managing its finances has been nothing short of a masterclass in adapting to the times, finding a way to balance its spiritual mission with the realities of worldly matters. Over the years, the Church has been quite strategic in ensuring it remains financially untouchable, and one of its boldest moves was the creation of Vatican City as an independent state. The turning point came in 1929, with the signing of the Lateran Treaty between the Holy See and Italy, ending years of disputes. This agreement didn't just settle old grievances, it effectively established Vatican City as a sovereign entity. In what can only be described as a divine real estate deal, the Vatican secured a prime slice of land, including Vatican Hill, St. Peter's Basilica, and the Vatican Gardens, arguably one of the most valuable pieces of property in history. It was as if the Vatican hit the jackpot in land acquisitions, and so Vatican City was born, a small yet mighty 44-hectare enclave, becoming the heart of the Catholic Church's spiritual and administrative operations. While it might not be the largest kingdom, it certainly claimed the title of the holiest. With its new sovereign status, Vatican City needed the infrastructure of a modern state, and that included a banking system. Enter the Vatican Bank, officially known as the Institute for the Works of Religion, which was established in 1942 during World War II. Its purpose? To manage the Church's financial assets and handle banking services, all while maintaining a level of prestige fitting for a spiritual powerhouse. In essence, Vatican City may be small in size, but its financial and spiritual influence extends far beyond its borders, shaping a unique legacy that continues to thrive today. The Vatican Bank has certainly earned its place in history, but not always for the most pious reasons. Over the years, it's been at the center of quite a few eyebrow-raising moments, from whispers of secret accounts to full-blown financial scandals. And then there's the so-called bank nobility, a group of influential figures who've held key roles within the bank, acting as not just bankers, but also advisors and protectors of the Church's vast financial interests. Think of them as the Vatican's version of a board of directors, with the Pope, of course, at the helm as the ultimate CEO. Throughout history, the Vatican Bank has found itself woven into complex political and financial webs. During both world wars, the bank was reportedly involved in some questionable dealings, including renting properties to arms manufacturers during World War I. The controversy deepened in World War II, with allegations that the Vatican Bank had financial ties to the Axis powers. While the Church never outright supported Nazi Germany, some suggest that its neutral stance at the time was more about self-preservation than moral objection. That said, it's also important to remember that there were courageous individuals within the Church who stood against the Nazi regime. The Church's complicated relationship with Nazi Germany wasn't helped by the fact that Catholicism and Judaism didn't exactly have the warmest history. In that light, some claim that the Vatican's attempts to profit during the war aligned a bit too well with certain political forces of the time. But wartime dealings are far from the only source of controversy for the Catholic Church. Scandals have erupted within the sacred walls of the Vatican, shaking the institution to its core. From financial mismanagement to deeper ethical issues, the Church has seen its share of divine drama. Yet, in true Catholic fashion, redemption remains at the heart of the story. The Vatican has faced these crises head-on, striving to rebuild trust and regain its moral standing. After all, in a faith that preaches forgiveness, even the gravest of sins can find a path to absolution. In the more shadowy chapters of history, the Vatican Bank has often been shrouded in secrecy, with stories of covert operations and hidden financial dealings that could rival any spy thriller. It's almost as if the Church took the saying, "God works in mysterious ways," a bit too literally. Allegations of money laundering and financial misconduct have long haunted the Vatican Bank, stirring concern among both devout followers and skeptics alike. As you might imagine, these rumors haven't exactly bolstered the Church's reputation, especially in a world that's becoming increasingly skeptical of religious institutions. Fortunately, confessionals were never too far away. But the scandals haven't been limited to financial matters. In recent years, the Vatican has been rocked by controversies that have struck at the very heart of its moral authority. Perhaps the most devastating blow to the Church has been the widespread accusations of child abuse involving priests, along with cover-ups by church officials. These revelations have shaken the faith of millions, marking a crisis of trust that continues to echo through Catholic communities worldwide. It's a stark reminder that even the most sacred institutions can be vulnerable to human failings, and that accountability, however delayed, is essential for healing. The real blow came when those who dared to expose the Vatican's darker secrets, whistleblowers and investigative journalists, faced subtle threats for their efforts. This misuse of power caused a significant rift, pushing many away from the Church and costing the Vatican more than just money. It was a wake-up call for an institution losing credibility fast. Enter Pope Francis, a figure determined to turn the tide. With the Church in crisis, he set out to repair its tarnished image and restore faith in its leadership. Under his guidance, the Vatican took steps toward much-needed reform, focusing on transparency, accountability, and a renewed dedication to the teachings of Christ. In essence, Pope Francis vowed to restore the Church's greatness. However, the timing of these reforms raises some questions. It wasn't the suffering of innocent victims or the string of scandals that finally spurred the Church into action. It was the financial hit that came with them. Once the Vatican's pocketbook was affected, change became a priority. Pope Francis didn't just tackle the moral issues within the Church, he also took on its financial woes. Balancing the need for financial support with the risk of appearing corrupt is no easy feat. It's like trying to walk a tightrope, keeping the Church's coffers full while avoiding the pitfalls of suspicion. As part of his reform, donation boxes were dusted off, fundraising efforts kicked into high gear, and the faithful were urged to contribute to the Church's mission once again. Thankfully, the Vatican hasn't yet ventured into the realm of televangelism, but let's not rule anything out. Still, little by little, the Church has managed to claw back some of the credibility it lost. Donations began trickling in once more, and many of the faithful found comfort in Pope Francis's genuine and compassionate leadership. The Vatican of today has made some progress in embracing financial transparency. They now release annual financial reports which detail where the money comes from and how it's being spent. But let's not kid ourselves. No scandal is big enough to shake the Vatican's iron grip on its tax exemptions. Can you imagine the financial hit they'd take if they had to pay taxes on their millions of properties around the world? How would they maintain their vast fortune and keep their hold on moral authority? While donations and charitable contributions are back on the rise, there are still whispers that the Vatican's real financial lifeblood flows from its investments, commercial ventures, and, of course, the Vatican Bank. For an institution that's amassed unimaginable wealth while accepting donations from people who often struggle to make ends meet, the ethics of it all can feel a little murky. But hey, at least they've got some pretty incredible treasures to show for it: divine splendor and opulence. When it comes to luxury, few do it quite like the Catholic Church. Whether it's the awe-inspiring cathedrals or the priceless works of art, the Church's wealth and opulence would make even King Midas jealous. The Vatican certainly knows how to dazzle with its display of divine riches. The opulence of church decor is impossible to miss, especially when you walk into any temple adorned with golden accents and lavish details. But none hold a candle to St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City. It's like stepping into a holy version of Fort Knox, except instead of gold bars, the precious metal is draped across walls, ceilings, and altars in the form of intricate designs. Inside the Vatican's sacred halls, you'll find a staggering collection of artistic treasures. From Michelangelo's breathtaking frescoes in the Sistine Chapel to priceless sculptures and stunning tapestries, the Church has amassed a collection that showcases the pinnacle of human creativity. It's as if the Vatican has its own art museum that could make even the most seasoned curators swoon. And then there's the glittering jewelry. Bishops and cardinals are often seen in elaborate robes accessorized with ornate mitres and pectoral crosses adorned with precious gems. If you thought that was over the top, wait until you hear about the Vatican's relics. the church holds a fascinating collection of sacred artifacts, from fragments of the true cross to clothing worn by saints. It's a display of wealth and devotion that blends history, faith and luxury in ways that few can rival. Imagine walking through a divine museum filled with ancient relics that connect the faithful to the core of their beliefs. It's an experience where history, faith, and artistry converge in a truly spectacular way. But if you think the individual treasures are impressive, wait until you see the pièce de résistance of the Vatican's collection, Pope Gregory the Great's pastoral staff. This isn't just any staff, it's a masterpiece in its own right. Traditionally crafted from wood, the staff features intricate carvings and detailed embellishments. Shaped like a shepherd's crook, it symbolizes the Pope's role as the spiritual shepherd of the Catholic Church. But what really sets it apart is its adornment with precious metals and sparkling diamonds, elevating it to one of the Vatican's most cherished and luxurious possessions. It's a breathtaking blend of artistry and symbolism that embodies both the Church's heritage and its unmatched opulence. If you found this video interesting and would love to see more videos like this, be sure to like and subscribe.